5.3, graphing radical functions, page 252 to 255. Core concept. We have parent functions of square root and cube root functions. Alright, the parent function of a family of square root functions is f of x equals the square root of x. Alright, and here's what it looks like. It just kind of comes up from the middle and goes out just like that. And that's what all of them will generally look like. There is no square root of a negative, so that's why it won't go on this left-hand side or on the bottom portion underneath that x-axis. For all domain and ranges, it's going to be x is greater than or equal to 0, and y is greater than or equal to 0 for any parent function, I should say. But yeah, it won't be any negatives, so it's going to go always x is greater than or equal to something, wherever that starting point is, and y is greater than or equal to something. Okay, the parent function of the family of cube root functions is f of x equals the cubed root of x. And this one, since we can have cube root of negatives, it is going to venture on over to the left-hand side of that y-axis and underneath that x-axis. So this one kind of looks like an S. And in this case, domain and range will always be all real numbers. Okay, flip it on up. Let's get into concept number 1. And here we go. Graphing radical functions. So graph each function, identify the domain and range of each function. Hint, make a table of 5 values and sketch the graph. Now again, I use just a protractor here. I use it, again, to make that box right there. And I have 5 spots. You can do this vertically if you want. There's just, this sets up the room more appropriately for that horizontal box or table. X values goes on top. That's what I'm going to plug in there for x, and I'm going to get the y value on the bottom. So again, we are starting with the square root, and is there such thing as a negative square root? No, so I'm going to start with 0. If I put in 0 for x, I get 0 times 1/4, and that's 0, and then I get the square root of 0, which is just 0. As far as my other number is concerned, I can use any other number and just plug it into the calculator. But what if I can find perfect squares, right? So if I use 4, square root, or I put in x for 4, or 4 for x, I get 1/4 times 4, which is 1. And the square root of 1 is 1. And I don't even need to use my calculator, right? But unfortunately, I'm not going to have enough space to put in any others that are going to work. So maybe I'll just do 6, 8, and 12 here. Alright. And now I'm going to put this 6 in. I get 6/4. I put it in my calculator, put the square root of 3/2 or 6/4, whatever, and I get 1.2. Put 8 in there, I get 8/4, which is 2. The square root of 2 is 1.4. And then I put 12 in there, and I get 3, and the square root of 3 is 1.7. Okay? So you're going to have to use your calculator, put in those. Okay, next. I'm going to go ahead and graph these points. So if I go over here, 0, 0 is this point right here, the origin. 4, 1, I go 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1 right there. 6, 1.2, so I go 5, 6, 1 just above that line, 0.2. 8.4, right about there. And then 12 is actually out of this, but closer to that second line right there. And there's our dots. What I'm going to do is connect these dots with a kind of slanted line going gradually up, like so. And that's going to continue to go up and up and up and up. Alright, domain and range. Domain is this x-axis, and you can see it starts at 0 and goes up. So it's going to be x is greater than or equal to 0. Your range is your y-axis, right? And again, no negatives. It's going to start at 0 right here and go, oops, it's on the top. It's going to go up. It's that bottom one, sorry. So that would be y. Shoot. Y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay. So there's how we graph these radical functions with the square root. Cube root's going to look a little different. And I'll go ahead and show that here. So what we know with cube roots, again, is that they have that negative portion, right? So therefore, I can use negatives. Now this one just has an x in there, right? So I'm going to look for those perfect cubes right off the bat. And in this case, I have some. I have -8's a perfect cube, -1's a perfect cube, 0 is a perfect cube, 1 and 8 are perfect cubes. So when I do that, -8, I plug it in. The cube root of -8 is -2. And then I multiply it by that -3 and I get +6. Put in a -1. Cube root of -1 is -1. Multiply that by -3 and I get +3. Cube root of 0 is 0 times -3 is 0. Put 1 in there. The cube root of 1 is 1 times -3 is -3. Put 8 in there. The cube root of 8 is 2 times -3 is -6. Alright, so let's plot these points. I have -8, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plot that point. -1, 3. 1, 2, 3. 0, 0. 1, -3, 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right, down 3, and then 8, -6, 8 to the right, down 6. Alright, there's my points. I'm going to go ahead and connect these with a nice curved line. And there we go, we kind of get this S looking like shape. Now this one looks a little different than the one, our parent function. It's actually going downwards, and it's going downwards because of that negative sign out in front. It's the negative cube root, so that's going to flip that over that x-axis. Alright, and now for any cube root, domain is going to cover the entire x-axis, so that's all real numbers, and again that's our all real number sign. It's like an R with two little lines. And then our range will cover all our y-axis, so therefore also all real numbers. Okay, number 3 and 4 are on the next page. They are try this problems, so I do want you to flip it up. Actually 3 is on that page for you guys. And then 4 is on the other page. So give those a try. Just do the best you can. Who cares if you get a right or wrong, right? Check your work, see if you can make sense out of it. And please pause now as I'm going to show these solutions. Alright. Here is the solution for number 3. Graph should look like that. There's are the points and domain and range. I'm going to flip it up and show 4. Alright, and here is our solution for 4. Okay, next we have transformations. These are the same transformations we've been talking about all year. The only difference is now we are talking about them with radicals. So essentially, anything that we're doing, right, you're going to notice that we're going to put it into a radical form. Right, so horizontal translation, right, the quantity of x minus h, and now I'm going to plug it underneath the radical. So that kind of follows throughout all of those. So it's really not much of a difference. Okay, so for the next ones we're graphing these transformations for concept 2, I'm going to go ahead and show the answer and explain. It doesn't really help me to show step by step, considering I just did it for the other ones. You're going to follow the same format there. So let me just go ahead and explain. I'm going to scoot it up. Here is concept number 2, transforming radical functions. Alright, describe the transformation of f represented by g, then graph each function. Okay, so our parent function, f of x equals square root of x. I went ahead and I got that here and I plugged in 0. I get 0, 1, I get 1, 4, I get 2, put in 6, square root of 6 is 2.4. I put in 9 and I get 3. Right? So just using basic functions, I try not to use the calculator as much as possible, and there's my parent function. Okay, so after I graph that one, now I look at this transformation. G of x equals the square root of x minus 3 plus 4. Well, what is this transformation? G is a transformation 3 units to the right, counterintuitive to x minus 3, 3 units right, and that plus 4 is 4 units up. And now here, to get those points, all I do is from here, from the 0, 0, I count 1, 2, 3 right, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and plot a point. Then I go to that point 1, 1, and I count 3 right, up 4, plot another point. Go there, count 3 right, up 4, plot another point. Go to this point, count 3 right, up 4, plot that point, and draw a line. Now, and I'm done, right? That's it. So if you are given the parent function of f of x is the square root of x, you just use these points right here. Come back to this. All right? No need to do it all over again unless you want to. But we already have the parent function graphed, right? It's here. It's also on the first page of our notes for 5.3. So no need to repeat the process over and over and over. All right? Just get your points and then count whatever the transformation is, plot new points, and draw your line. Alright, I'm going to flip it up. Now the cube root is pretty similar. Okay, so this time I'm going to start with my parent function, which is the exact same points I used before. -8, -1, 0, 1, and 8, because those are perfect cubes. I don't even need my calculator. I can do all that in my head, plug in those. And then this time when I drew my line, it looks like the normal S. There wasn't a negative out in front, right? So it was no reflection over the x-axis. Then, after that, I can't just go ahead and look at this, my transformation, g of x equals the cube root of -8x, which is a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/8 and a reflection in your y-axis. And unfortunately, I just can't count that one out and plot new points. I actually have to go back and graph that one. So I plug in, same basically, -8 in there. I get 64. The cube root of 64 is 4. Put in -1, I get 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. 0, and so forth. I plug in those points, and then I graph them there. And this one, again, looks like this. And there you go. There it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scoot that up. Go ahead and try number 6 and 7. I think it's 6 and 7 here. Or 6A and B. Give it a go. I'm going to go ahead and show, so please pause now. Okay, there is 6A and B. Check those answers out. Alright, and we got one more portion, which I'm just going to go ahead and make another video for.